It is time for a wild card weekend edition of Overreaction Monday, brought to you by our friends at Game Time, the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code of Overreaction, and you get $20 off your first purchase. It is time to chat about what we can overreact to with 5 of the 6 wild card weekend games in the books. We're recording this on the Monday morning of the wild card game between in the home of the Cardinals between the Vikings and the Rams. Chris Brockman, Rich Eisen with you. Good to see you, Christopher.
Great to see you, man. What's up?
It's been a crazy-ass week here in Los Angeles, California.
You're telling me.
We will start this show like what we've been starting pretty much every show since Malibu and the Palisades and Altadena, California, just to name a few towns here in Los Angeles, California. Practically got wiped off the planet. We want to thank all of the firefighters and first responders out there in our community, saving millions and millions of people from suffering the awful fate that it does appear those in those towns and others that we just mentioned. Just wanted to throw that out there. Yes, I know you and Sarah have been running around town and volunteering and things of that nature.
Doing our best.
Yeah, Susie's been doing the same with our kids, and it's just been something, man.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But we're pleased to be here in the toy department of Overreaction Monday.
Right.
And it is time to hit it. Go ahead, hit it.
That was terrible.
That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, Christopher, what do you have to start us off?
Rich, we got 7 great topics, and we're going to look back at week 9. We got to start with Sunday night. Man, that was an unbelievable football game after 4 duds kind of leading up to it. Baker Mayfield, Jayden Daniels just trading haymakers. Jayden Daniels is going to do what CJ Stroud couldn't last year. He's going to beat the 1 seed.
This is not an overreaction, okay? I can't sit here and say the Lions should feel absolutely secure with the Commanders coming in, and this is the way I'm going to start our flagship show later on today, and I'll throw something similar out here. That there are various playoff teams every year, various types of playoff teams every year. Obviously, the bye-weeking teams, and then we saw the 2 seeds survive survive and advance, or pound and advance. And in the AFC, it was chalk in that regard. The top 4 seeds moved on.
Yes.
So you've got teams that feel destined, teams that we assume are going to win, teams that we're not surprised when they win. Like the Houston Texans, for instance. I know we thought the Chargers would one and done them, but the Texans had a terrific defensive performance, and the aforementioned Stroud had his best game of the year.
Absolutely.
When he picked up that fumbled snap, and it looked like more disaster for the Texans, and it flipped the game in favor of Houston.
Correct.
So those are those types of teams in the playoffs. Destined, assume they're going to win, not surprised when they win. And then there's the ones that say, why not us? And the Washington Commanders are the why not us team.
No doubt.
Of these playoffs.
No doubt.
And that's particularly dangerous. That's particularly dangerous when you have a rookie quarterback who's not playing like a rookie anymore. Big difference between the Jayden Daniels that showed up in Raymond James in week 1 and then the one that showed up in week 19.
Yeah, he hasn't played like a rookie since what, maybe October?
And the photograph we're showing for those who are listening, the ones who are seeing Overreaction Monday now on our YouTube channel, there is that cut beneath his right eye that he suffered in the first half. And he mentioned after the game, and what he said about it is the perfect personification of who he is. He said he didn't feel it. He said he didn't realize he was bleeding. Wow. And then when you saw that cut, it looked like he needed the fight doctor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He was bleeding pretty good.
Right. And so they had to glue it shut. I mean, that's potentially going to leave a scar.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't feel it, which personifies Jayden Daniels to a T.
God, I love this kid.
And so you follow a kid like that, and then you realize Terry McLaurin is playing how he plays, and then a bunch of receivers that were on waiver wires all year long are particularly difficult to stop now. And then you realize Bobby Wagner's in the middle of this defense.
Why do we in the All-Pro this year? It looked like his career was over a couple years ago. And now
first ballot Hall of Famer.
My gosh.
So it's not just, oh, well, you know what? Nice job beating the Bucks. And now you're going to go into the home of the 15-win, one-seeded Detroit Lions. You've got no chance. No, I mean, obviously the Lions will be favored to win this game, and rightfully so.
Yeah, by a lot,
okay.
Actually, yeah.
But you can't sit here and say the Commanders have no shot and that you're sitting here going, okay, Jayden Daniels and the Commanders are going to make the NFC Championship game and go one game further than last year's Offensive Rookie of the Year, second drafted overall quarterback, that he couldn't make it to the AFC Championship game last year. Got beaten by the team that eventually hosted the AFC Championship game, and Jayden Daniels could suffer the same fate of those who will host this year's NFC Championship game with a win.
Correct.
But I don't think you can call this an overreaction, pal, to start.
That dude is special.
He particularly is, and he is the first rookie quarterback to win his first game on the road since Russell Wilson beat the previous Washington Heisman Trophy winning second overall drafted quarterback in RG3 in their rookie seasons together. So Jayden Daniels is particularly special, and he just broke the 8-game losing streak of rookie quarterbacks trying to win his first game on the road. Bo Nix having lost earlier in the day, first playoff game on the road. And so, I say this is not an overreaction, and we can move on to start.
Rich, you mentioned the AFC, how the AFC is chalk. We are getting the matchup we've been kind of waiting for all season. MVP front runners, Josh Allen against Lamar Jackson, Buffalo against Baltimore.
Yes.
The winner of Bills-Ravens is going to the Super Bowl.
You know what? When I woke up this morning, and I knew we were coming down here to record Overreaction Monday, I truly believe, I swear to you, I'm not just saying this. I said Brockman is going to say the winner of Bills-Ravens is going to the Super Bowl, is winning the AFC. I knew it.
Really?
Because I knew it because you have been.
You didn't think I was going to go win the Super Bowl?
I just say that they're going to, that the AFC Championship is essentially the finale of the divisional weekend.
Wow.
I thought to myself you would do that. So I have my prepared answer.
Oh, man, I got to be better at that.
No. You're just because I can see you call your shot because you have been dukeying atop the Chiefs from this chair.
Wow.
I want to 90% of the time.
I want to stay consistent.
I understand. I understand where you're going with this, but you have spent much of the season doubting the three-peat, and part of that is because you believe it. Part of that is because you like winding it up on this show.
Right, I just like winding.
And part of it is the Patriot fan in you that doesn't want to see somebody do what Brady could not do.
A little piece of me would die if that happened.
Right, that the Chiefs would take one step closer to the possibility of making the Patriots the second best dynasty of this century.
Even just hearing you say it.
So that's deep-seated in the way that you conduct yourself.
No, but I'm a professional. So
I understand that, but the topic bar is the topic bar.
Sure.
And this is a total overreaction.
Oh, come on.
Bro.
The MVP's in this game.
Bro. Come on. Even if the Texans knock off the Chiefs.
They won by a combined, 70-something to 14?
Even if the Texans knock off the Chiefs, they would do it in such a way that would make you think, okay, now the Texans can go into this team's home and go ahead and take care of that business too.
Oh, well, hold on to that thought for a second.
So, but that is a remote possibility in my estimation. And get out of here. Somebody's going to have to come off of this paint swap and go into Arrowhead.
Or host.
Or go into Arrowhead.
Got it.
And win that football game. They're equipped. I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying there's a chance.
And these teams,
not a Dumb and Dumber chance.
One of these teams
for you
beat the Chiefs this year, and the other was a toenail shot.
Correct.
Okay.
So for you to proclaim today that the finale of the divisional weekend is the de facto AFC Championship game is a total, complete overreaction. I saw this coming, and we now can move on.
Okay, great. Well, let's talk about the Texans then, since you just brought them up.
Yes.
The Texans, that was impressive, man.
It was.
I don't think a lot of people saw that coming in the fashion that it went down. The Texans are who we thought they were before the season. They're a team that can make the Super Bowl.
If they had Diggs and Dell, I'd buy this. If they had Diggs and Dell,
They put up 30 points without them.
I know. Well, I mean, Justin Herbert helped a little bit.
Yeah,
in a way that I don't
true.
believe Mahomes is going to help.
We'll talk about Herbert in a minute.
I know where you're going with that one, I'm sure, too. But Stroud played very well. Stroud played like the Ohio State kid. Stroud made that play when the ball was loose. They're down 6-0. There's just a little over than 2 minutes to go in that half. And the ball he scoops it up. He scoops up the errant snap.
A great photo here.
And he makes a play out of it. And not just makes a play out of it.
Man.
He made a game-changing play out of it.
Yeah, I mean, rolling to his right, going out of bounds, throws it across his body. Guy wide. I mean, it changed the whole game.
That wound up in a drive. Let's just give him that was the best case scenario. The second best case scenario is he just picks it up and the Texans punt.
Runs it or throws it away. Yeah, right.
Okay. And so then the Chargers are up 6-0 with terrific field position and opportunity to run out the clock of the half and put more points on the board.
Right.
Instead, or the worst case scenario is the Chargers recover.
Right.
And go up 13-0.
Right. Which, I mean, it was a miracle. It was only 6-0. I mean, that game really should have been 14-0 at that point.
And that wound up in a drive that gave him the lead. And then they get the ball back, and Stroud runs one.
Right. Longest run of his career.
Did that remind you of the one against Georgia?
Oh,
it did to me.
Interesting. Yeah, a little bit.
You remember when Stroud was running? Mm-hmm. He's the one who set up the game-winning field goal for that bowl game with his legs.
And he hadn't talked about him being a guy that uses his legs to make those kind of plays all season at Ohio State that year.
That's what I was thinking of. When he did that, I'm like, that's the kid who did that against Georgia. So he is playing in a manner that we were expecting. He didn't for the first, what would you say, the first almost 28 minutes of the game. He didn't.
They were getting thoroughly outplayed.
Right. And then the roof caved in because the defense took over.
Yep.
And Mixon's taken over. He fumbled, and then the second half, Mixon was punking people. So, yeah, they can make the Super Bowl, but the Texans, when we thought who they were prior to the season, was with Diggs and Dell and Collins and Mixon and this team with a line up front that could protect Stroud. So I don't know if they are who we thought they were, but they're a team that can make the Super Bowl. I still need to see a little bit more. I'll call this one an overreaction, but it was an incredible win. And now they've got to go and one and done the Chiefs in Arrowhead. I mean, the defense can shut down. They could make life tough.
They could
make life awful tough.
Just got to get the Chiefs off the field. I mean, that's the thing they do better than any other team is, keep drives going with some crazy third down magic.
Guess what I think the Chiefs are going to do a better job of is covering 12.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, set a record for the Texans in many regards. Most receiving yards in a playoff game. By the way, more than D-Hop, more than Andre Johnson. These are pretty good.
Pretty good names.
Pretty good names. Yeah. And then there's this one. First player in Houston history with 2 or more receiving touchdowns in their playoff career. So Nico Collins is putting his name. He's nice in some very select company.
Yeah, 12 is nice.
What else you got?
Okay, Rich. Last one before halftime here. Let's talk about the guy on the other side of the game in Houston. We need to stop talking about Justin Herbert as one of the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL.
I'm sad to say I don't think this is an overreaction. He'll still be talked about as one of the top tier quarterbacks in terms of physical talent. You know,
There's
arm
just-
strength, arm, legs, the whole thing.
Right. But I mean, win a big game, dude. Win a game that matters. He's what, a game or two over 500 in his career. Expectations, he just doesn't live up to him, man. And like, yes, he had a better season this year with the Harbaugh kind of run first offense, but come on, man, 4 picks in a playoff game.
I can't.
In a game you're favored.
I can't push back. I can't.
And it's a bummer to see. I like him. I like watching him play, but
he's the first full-time starting quarterback, meaning, you know, he didn't start a playoff game due to injury, or he didn't take over midway through the season and started a playoff game, because the other two we're talking about barely had 100 regular season attempts, and Todd Collins in 07 and Gary Danielson in 83 for Detroit.
Wow.
But Herbert is the phrase that NFL Network research is using is first qualified passer, which is a fancy way of saying full-time starter. Herbert's the first such quarterback in NFL history to throw more interceptions in a playoff game than he did the entire regular season.
Whew.
No one's ever done that. So you got to give it up. Like, he threw 3 interceptions in the regular season.
But he was very efficient this season, but he wasn't asked to win games like he had been previously.
Right. So let's put it in a more positive light then.
Sure, you're a positive guy.
Okay. Put it in a positive light. Jim plussed up the team 6.
Yep.
Okay. Ladidi McConkey is
absolute
the
stud.
real deal.
Yeah.
Okay. He set the rookie record for most receiving yards in a playoff game, breaking Puka Nakua's record from last
beast.
year. Okay. And he's got his 197 yards behind only Calvin Johnson and Demaryius Thomas for most receiving yards in a playoff debut in your career.
Wow. So Demaryius, that would have been the Steeler game, right? Where he
2011 wild card.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it was also the same weekend Calvin Johnson had 211 receiving yards.
Wow.
Okay. So McConkey is clearly the real thing, right? J.K. Dobbins looks healthy, and I think they can make a nice running attack with him and whomever else they're going to have around him. Let's get some more weapons. Let's get some more weapons that are consistent for Herbert. Defensively, they're a little bit longer in the tooth, I would think, but certainly they're pass rushers.
Khalil Mack talking about retiring, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so the future is bright, and I think he's got the right coach. He's got the right coach to not only get him where he needs to go, but to potentially use a topic bar like this as the fire. You know, I don't think Jim is a "do you hear what they're saying about you" type guy, but I think he's a little bit more positive and sunnier than that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe he's got the right guy. The Chargers clearly have the right guy. They've got the right setup. They went from 5th overall on the clock to the 5th seed. So there's some positivity there, but it's tough to push back on this one.
Yeah, that's 2 massive playoff duds. You know, he was the one against Jacksonville.
Yes,
You know,
I'm aware of that.
So,
okay, game time. Right. Focused on togetherness this time of year. Boy, do we need it. And boy, certainly in this area, when things get a little bit back to normal, Susan and I are going to take the kids to some stuff. And maybe you in your area want to take your family to an event and create some lifetime memories. Certainly with some big football games going on right around now. The basketball season will pick up. March Madness around the corner. So get Game Time right now, and it makes getting tickets to live events even easier. Concerts, comedy, theater, all-in pricing feature. You see your total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets right now with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code OVERREACTION. You get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Visit GameTime.co for restrictions. Again, create an account, redeem our code OVERREACTION for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Second half, Chris, kick it off.
Second half, Rich, here we go. And this one is mighty spicy, if I do say so myself. Going to be a lot of talk this week about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin and whether it's time for a change. Here's my proposal here. The Steelers and Cowboys should just swap head coaches, just trade them for each other, because both Tomlin and Mike McCarthy need a change of scenery.
I'm going to make I believe it's a Brady Bunch reference. Mike Del Tufo can potentially help me with this one. Do you remember it's time to change, you must rearrange? Is that the song from Brady Bunch? You can't confirm. Mike Del Tufo can't confirm. So in honor of the Brady Bunch.
Nice timely reference.
I know that. I get it. I understand. They're only talking about a half century old, but I think Tomlin and McCarthy would remember.
Yeah, sure.
Remember. They remember Alice in the Center Square. I'm going to say this is not a bad idea.
Oh.
I don't know how it would happen. One's not going to be under contract as of tomorrow.
Well, sign and trade. You know, happens in the NBA.
Is that right?
Yeah, in other leagues all the time.
I don't think that's a terrible idea.
Are you more on board though with it? It's kind of over.
Well, I mean, clearly I am. Otherwise, okay. I would just look at you and say, "Get out of here."
I know, but you've been one of the staunchest Tomlin supporters here in the last couple of years.
Well,
when I've been bringing this up,
he is a great coach, a leader of men.
I don't disagree with that.
He is a great leader of men.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree.
The men who he coaches go to the mat for him.
Yes.
The comeback attempt on Saturday night's a terrific example. It's just the problem is having to mount such a comeback to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, just a cliff. There was a cliff that hit. And it's on the offensive side of the ball. Mostly, the most concerning thing, if I'm in the Steelers management and front office, is getting punked by a running attack, despite it coming from potentially a 3-time MVP and a first ballot Hall of Famer, 31-year-old who's playing like he's 21, like he just turned 21 in Derrick Henry, and how they damn near put 300 rushing yards on the Steelers, which is what you don't do to the Pittsburgh Steelers, certainly in a playoff game with division rivals going at it. And your most hated one at that, I might add, with all due respect to their hate for Ohio, which I, as you know, give a nice salute to. So football teams from Ohio, I should say.
Of course.
So that is concerning for sure. And you look at Dallas, what do they need potentially? If you think that McCarthy's not it, you want a CEO, head coach who might change the culture there with the team that you believe is ready to win now. As I think the Jones family does believe.
I would imagine they believe that.
Now, I'm oversimplifying things here because, again, this in reality, I don't think could happen. But what are the Steelers? Would Steelers fans, if I told you, hey, your offensive woes, like falling off the cliff, like losing 10 points a game on average for some reason over the last 5 weeks, we could get a guy who's very well known for his offensive prowess with a Super Bowl ring in his pocket, and a guy used to take tolls in Pittsburgh.
A hometown kid.
Right? Like, he talks like you, he looks like you, he acts like you, he is you.
You're right.
I kind of think Dallas fans would dig the Tomlin switch, and I think the Steelers fans would dig the McCarthy switch. But fans don't run the team, and reality is this wouldn't happen. Is it possible that it happens separately? That finding out that Tomlin's available causes the conversations between the Joneses and McCarthy to fall apart in the next 24 hours? And then McCarthy's free and I don't know. I mean, you've had crazier ideas is basically what I'm saying.
Well, that's nice of you to say. I just think, look, the report was that the Rooneys are not planning to make a coaching change.
Well, they don't do that.
But as we all know, plans change. And I know Mike Tomlin did sign an extension earlier this spring.
Yes,
so he's still owed about $50 million. But, the offsets, and so that it wouldn't be that big of a bill to the Rooneys.
I still don't think they're going to fire.
What about a mutual parting of ways?
I understand the sense that's out there now is it's time for his Andy Reid moment.
Yeah.
To depart the state of Pennsylvania, where he's been part and parcel of the football fabric well over a decade.
But this has been the conversation for several years now.
No, I get it.
So
what else, Chris?
all right, I just wanted to throw that out there.
What else?
All right, how about this one? And this is just for me, really, honestly.
I'm glad you're admitting it straight up.
Yeah, of course. Look, Mike Vrabel is going to lead the Patriots to a winning record next year. Let's go.
Your roster's not good enough for that, I don't think.
Well, maybe on January 14th.
Right.
13th.
So were you going to get a whole bunch of free agents?
Yeah,
and
look, I think people are going to want to come play with this guy.
You're going to get Lad McConkey instead of somebody from the University of Washington.
Would have been great if we had
figure that one out.
Would have been great if we had drafted
You're going to figure
Lad
those
and
things
not
out.
traded that pick.
That front office isn't going to change.
Look, Cincinnati's not going to pay both their wide receivers, right? One of those guys is going to be available.
Listen, I don't blame you for being jacked.
AJ Brown might want out.
I don't blame you for being excited. You got the guy who can put asshole back in masshole.
Yeah.
And they went from their own asshole to Gerard Mayo, and after that clearly didn't work out for a year. You're going back to what you know. You know what you're getting. What you're getting is a terrific head coach, a CEO head coach
exactly.
as well.
CEO head coach.
A CEO head coach who's
culture changer.
Right. Who knows
tell you like it is.
And it is. I mean, this is the Patriot reddest red meat you can throw.
Yep.
To the New England faithful.
In a red jacket.
A terrific hire. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. And it's, with the 2020 hindsight of whatever happened behind the scenes, that I imagine some deep dive might come out at some point in time about
Q Seth Wickersham.
whatever was going on there with Gerard Mayo will cause everyone to say, well, you could have done this last year. Why didn't you? But
kudos to Robert Kraft for a month ago, this did not seem possible at all. It seemed like for sure Gerard was coming back. They were going to run it back. And he, look, this season kind of fell apart at the end. He identified, look, we got to make a move. We got to do it. Mike's not going to be out there again. And let's run it back in a way. Josh McDaniels is coming. We got some, Mike's going to bring his own front office people, it sounds like, and let's go.
Makes sense. It's a great honor.
It's great.
But to say you're going to be 9-8 next year.
Look,
come on.
They lost 6 one-score games. Okay,
so
let's flip a couple of those. Drake may make some plays.
Sure. So you're saying you're going to be next year's Chargers.
I think it's
or Commanders.
I think it's not.
You go from second overall on the clock to second round of the playoffs.
I think it's not impossible.
5th overall on the clock to the 5 seed.
They could win 9 games next year. They got an easier schedule. Right. Looking at it right now, they're at the bottom of the league.
I think it's an overreaction. Okay. We will see. We might be able to come back to this one, but on behalf of the Jets organization, who interviewed Mike Vrabel, and then it comes out that they went very, very well.
Right.
It's very odd that Gerard Mayo's fired within 24 hours.
He was,
and then within a week and a half, Mike Vrabel's hired. Yeah. Very, very strange.
Thank you once again.
What else, Chris?
Appreciate that. All right, last one before we get to the look back. We're obviously recording this before Monday night's Vikings-Rams game. The winner of tonight's game is going to go into Philadelphia and take out the Eagles.
Oh, man.
I know Philly won the game, but it was
I got it.
Not impressive.
No, I say this, that if the Vikings win it, I think they are equipped to do it. If the Rams win it, I'd be really nervous. Saquon Barkley's still running on that Rams team.
True. And he was obviously awesome on Sunday.
The Vikings, both teams play indoors. I get it. I just think that I just don't know. I just think the Rams and the Rams don't match up well with the Eagles. And that might just be the sense of having seen that game. We've seen the movie before. Mm-hmm. The Vikings could be better equipped to do it. And so I'm not terribly confident, and you know how much I love the Rams. I called my shot that the Rams were winning the division. I chose the Rams to win this game on game day morning. By the way, with the rest of the crew, I was stunned. I thought I was going to be lone wolf in it.
Everyone took the Rams, huh?
Pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty much. I think Colleen Wolfe lone wolfed the Vikings, which is, by the way, I told her it was like 14-win lone wolf. Ain't too shabby.
Right.
In a neutral site game, although, word is that there were a ton of tickets.
A lot of Rams people going.
Right. So we shall see. I think this is an overreaction. I think this is more to say either one. I'm concerned that the Rams, if they win it, which I think they will, that's a tall order, man.
Do you love the vibes with Philly right now? Like, I know Jalen Hurts it seemed like he was a little bit rusty, but it's not like he plays outstanding in career-wise in their playoff wins. You know, they're not throwing the ball well. A.J. Brown had one catch and reading books on the sideline.
Well, the books thing is, that's an interesting narrative now. Is that when he's so upset, he's just decided to start reading. Like he
I know. Apparently, he's been doing it all season, and cameras just haven't caught it.
And it's not like he's catching up on Harry Potter, man. It's just like apparently it's a self-help book, and it helps him keep his mind straight and whatever. But
that's pretty wild to see in the middle of a playoff game.
Dude, but he's just clearly a different cat, man. All these crazy-ass wide receivers who are terrific at their job. I don't
know. I don't get the best vibes out of Hurts right now. That's all. Maybe he's just a little rusty,
it was a tough watch from that offense, and the Packers defense. Maybe you tip your cap to them, but the Vikings have a pretty damn good one too.
Philly's defense. They made Jordan Love.
I am genuinely concerned about the Rams and how they match up against an Eagles team, because we've seen it. We saw it in their house. We saw it in whose house? And Saquon's still hitting his head on the goalpost. And, unfortunately that night, because I was going against him in 2 fantasy matchups.
He didn't slide.
He didn't slide there. He didn't worry about blowing out his hamstring that night.
Oh, man. Everyone.
Good Lord.
Saquon TD prop yesterday.
Holy smokes.
My condolences.
So, I'll call that an overreaction.
Okay. All right. Let's look back to week 9 real quick, Rich, before we wrap this up.
I do like this. I'm wondering if it is, now that we're in the playoffs and it's now about the here and now, whether looking back 10 weeks is still an interesting, fun endeavor. But I imagine it will be.
The ones that I do have to do with teams that won over the weekend.
Look at you. Yeah. Okay, very good.
Come on, Rich.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to doubt you. I didn't mean to doubt our show on air either.
One that I had, this was heading into week 9, so that would have been after week 8, I guess. Yeah. I had the Texans are frauds as AFC contenders. Thought that was pretty funny, given how they looked on Saturday.
Well, I mean, they're 2 wins away from winning the AFC. Yeah. It's just that they're going to have to go into Kansas City and or Buffalo/Baltimore to do it.
Right, uphill battle.
We thought that they would be potential 1-seed contenders, and that's what would be their way, is the path to New Orleans, or at least that's probably what you were thinking prior to the season when you had the Texans winning the conference. Yeah. All right.
And the other one, the other 2 were Washington related. Commanders will be the 1 seed in the NFC. I don't know what happened after they must have been playing really well after.
They were 3. Well, 12 wins
normally would get you
closer. than the 6 seed, but unfortunately for them, there were 2 14-win teams playing for the 1 seed on the last night of the season. So
they are really fun, and I have so many Washington friends over the years, and diehards, and out of their minds. I'm so happy for them. And then the other one was Bears need to make Cliff Kingsbury an offer he can't refuse to be head coach.
Well,
I think Cliff's going to have his choice.
He's in the mix.
Playing like this,
he's in the mix right now. He's in the mix. I don't know. There's not as many coaching openings as we thought there would be. You were talking about 9 at one point, coaching openings.
Yeah, well, look, do you think Todd Bowles survives?
That might be open. I don't know.
Okay.
Cowboys could wind up being open.
Cowboys could end up being open. I'm saying there's still
North Carolina could wind up being open.
North Carolina could be open. But as of right now, only 1 of the 6 is filled. So there's still 5 jobs.
No, I know.
Okay.
I get it.
Why wouldn't you hire Cliff?
I'm not saying that they wouldn't. Did you hear what Pelissero said on Sunday's game day morning? They're going to wait for Marcus Freeman. They want to talk to him.
I think that's pretty smart.
Which, by the way, he will be free to talk about 1 week from the night of this taping.
Yeah.
So, and Kingsbury could be free 1 week after this as well.
Yeah.
Or he won't be. Okay. Interesting stuff.
Fun stuff. Great weekend.
Great stuff. We will be talking all week about this. What the Football, Susie and Amy will be talking about it. We'll be talking about it every single day. You can get all 3 hours of the Rich Eisen Show through the same podcast network. Potentially you're listening to Overreaction Monday. For those who are also seeing us on our YouTube channel, he's Chris. I'm Rich. Peace out. Thanks for taking in this wild card edition of Overreaction Monday. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.